Derek Mason, prove you belong in the SEC. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down all the schedules, 70 all the way up to number 1. We have arrived at the 13th most difficult, or the second easiest schedule in the Southeast Conference. Georgia has the easiest, but of course Georgia doesn't have to play themselves. Vandy does have to deal with the Bulldogs, and of course the rest of the SEC Eastern Division. Vandy is at number 50 in the nation, number 13 in the SEC. Here's why. They play in the SEC Eastern Division. They are most likely the worst team. I know Tennessee lost all its games last year, but Tennessee's better than Vandy. Vandy was 1-7 in the SEC Eastern Division last year. So they've got to play the better teams in the East. They play out of division. They get the lightest touch possible out of the Western Division in Ole Miss, their designated rival. Stupidity reigns there in designating rivals in the SEC East and Western Divisions like they do in the ACC. It only makes sense for a few teams, not Vandy and Ole Miss. But they always play the Rebels, and they have this season possibly ranked with them at the bottom of the SEC, Arkansas. So Vandy doesn't have to deal with Alabama as they played last year, Auburn as they played 2 years ago, the likes of LSU and Texas A&M and Mississippi State. They get most likely the two worst teams in the West. They've got the SEC East, and then they've got Notre Dame on the road on September 15th in South Bend against Notre Dame, what I project to be one of the 15 best teams in the country. The other non-conference games, not a big deal. Middle Tennessee will test Vandy, most likely in Nashville, September 1st. They've got Nevada, and they've got a game against Tennessee State. So that weighs down the schedule. When you've got 4 non-conference games, and even though you've got a Notre Dame game, you've got the other 3 against weak non-power 5s, like Nevada, Middle Tennessee, and Tennessee State. Vandy, here you go. You've got Ole Miss and Arkansas, so you've got the light touch out of the SEC Western Division. You've got the East, and you've got an easy non-conference schedule as you typically do, although there's that trip to Notre Dame. But it is the 13th best schedule or toughest schedule in the SEC, second easiest, 50 in the country. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, presenting the schedule rankings. Then we go back and we will preview and predict the season across the board right here on Mark Rogers TV.